Hey, buddy, it's a Friday. What's going on, man?
Well, I gotta tell you, life is good. We every now and again we get caught up in life, and we realize, like I did yesterday, we don't have a guest for today. So
Yeah,
it looks like it's you and I, brother.
that's you and I. So we're really getting to the bottom of the barrel here, but that's
Yeah.
okay, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
just so everybody knows, just full behind the scenes disclosure, we record, as you guys probably know from our rack and stack talk and things like that, people in advance, but for whatever reason, we did not have the person that was supposed to be on today actually ended up canceling, so they ended up out of the mix. And so it's not from a lack of planning; it's a lack of organization. I think would be the better way to
Well,
say it.
that would work, but let's be if brutal honesty here, and I think this is a point, right? Um, that was on me because that lady had to cancel, and we've got her rescheduled, which is going to be great. But I got so involved with so many other things that I forgot about the fact I'm so used to us being ahead, and I guess that's important to think about, right? When you put things on automation, which I think we're going to talk a little bit about today, when you put things on automation, your mind goes into auto mode. I'm just working on this. Well, we got 5 people in the queue, right? So I never worry on a given week because I know we've always got several. Except for this time, we didn't have several. We had nobody. So that's all
Yeah,
on me. So now you're stuck with us.
yeah, and it's okay because it's kind of a before Randy and I got on, we were talking about some of the topics that we would cover, and this is kind of a state of the union anyway. So we just want to do a little bit of now that the kids are back in school and everybody is kind of at the end of their vacations and all that kind of stuff. Now we got the from now until basically the week of Thanksgiving, where people will actually knuckle down and do some work for a little bit. So yeah,
Exactly,
you know,
exactly. And the funny thing, in my industry, Wes, the metal roofing and post frame world, many times September through Christmas ish, depending. December can be very issues, if that makes sense. Is that a word? Issues? We'll use it. Um,
works for me.
well, I know I like it.
Yeah.
I see a lot of things that don't make any sense, but but it's sometimes up to 60% of the year's business is done in that period of time because it's and not that has anything to do with what we're talking about today, but I go on gambit sometimes, but it's that there's a snowfly coming at some point now, all of a sudden. A little ways away yet, but all of a sudden there's a line in the sand of if I want to get this thing done before winter settles in, I guess I got to hop to. And like you just said, vacations are over, graduations, all that stuff that takes everybody's summer. Now it's all of a sudden like, wow, if we're going to get this roof done before winter, I guess we better like get going. So yeah, it gets very busy this time of year. So which is a great thing. I like being busy, as I know you do.
I love being busy, and some of the best things that I've ever had happen between now and like I said, the week before Thanksgiving. It seems like a time where you can catch people when they're ready to do a couple things. One, they need to pay for all the vacations and stuff that they just took. They've got a cajillion fees. If you have kids, you know this. If you don't, I'll prepare you for it coming. Children are extremely expensive, and where they're not expensive, the school that they go to is expensive. Where they have you do 1,000 different lab fees, and just when you think you're done, photo pack comes home for school pictures and 1,000 different sets of candy bars and sports clothing, and it never really ends. And so I think people are very also readying for the holidays. So there's just a lot of things that happen in this next couple of weeks and months that just really kind of light a fire under people's butts. And I know Randy and I. Now I will say he got ahead of it, and I'm going to put it up here. With his awesome book, Asphalt and Algorithms. I'd
Wow.
like to give a gigantic post for that, and
Is that
also
one right
have
there?
that awesome book right here. We were talking about getting books done this year. I will tell you that Could possibly get mine done this year. I don't know if it's going to be done. But the one thing that I do know is that I have a book coming. Randy and I are both working on a book with our awesome friend, Ben Gay, the third, which will be the closers, probably 7. It could possibly be 6. It could be 8, depending on where we land. But then we also got a Building Wins book that's going to be coming. So we have to have a whip to our butt, just like the rest of you, So, this time of year is kind of, for that as well. But before we get into the subject, what do you think about that stuff, Randy?
Oh, I think you're right. I'm in that funny mode right now. I can't wait I can't wait for your book. I'm in the honeymoon phase right now with my book, and thank you for mentioning it, because now I'm through the hard part and I'm in the really fun part, even though writing the book was fun at times and not so fun at other times. But now I'm in that fun part of just promoting it and talking about it and all the stuff. And I'm excited for your book to come out, because I am privy to a little bit of what you're going to be talking about, because we're buddies and pals and brothers and food stealers and everything else we do together. But I can't wait for that to come out. And I'm really excited also about writing this book with Ben, the greatest, arguably, and I think anybody wants to argue with him, the greatest sales series in history, and one that I used a million years ago when I started. And I think it's a double whammy cool that we get to do this with Ben, who's a legend, as we all know, and you and I have grown to love, but that you and I get to do it together. So I mean, doing it together in itself would be fun. But doing it together,
I'm pinching myself because
go ahead.
I still don't believe it. When he asked us to do it, it blew my mind then, and it's still to this day. If I didn't have sleeves on, I'd be pinching myself. And by the way, I talked about the sleeves. Randy pointed out when he saw me on camera before we went live that I was wearing white. This is Warehouse Safety Tips, the other podcast that I work on. And we were talking about, between the two podcasts, consistency. And the Warehouse Safety Tips is on 298 this week. And I know with Building Wins, we are, way, above 2, and I think nearing 3, unless I'm wrong. And the thing is most podcasts never even hit 10. So I think 2, 3 to, I think, did you say 7? Or did you? What was the number you told me this morning, Randy?
Oh, I think it's 7.
Okay, so 7. We've surpassed that. Absolutely. Blew that out of the water. But one of the things that will help you in everything that you do is consistency. And one of the things that's going to be part of the before mentioned book that I was teasing is kind of treating yourself as a client. And it's very, very important sometimes to remember that consistency needs to bleed over into the other things in your life, not just the stuff that you do in your whatever that is. I mean, it could be selling things that have to do in the roofing and building area, like Randy. It could be in the podcasting and social media side of what I do, or whatever it is that you do. Whatever you have that is your main hustle, just remember that when you're doing other things, to apply that same kind of making yourself a client mentality, to where you're able to get your stuff done. Because I can tell you, the dragging of the feet of the things like the bin project, or even the Building Wins book, it's not because of not wanting to do those projects. It's because I do Building Wins, I do Warehouse Safety Tips. Randy is out, doing conventions and being a hybrid road warrior and all the above. It's not that we don't want to do those projects. It's just we probably haven't put the importance of making those projects a client that they need to be. And even though we do have things working in the background that you don't know about, the one thing that you always want to do is just make sure that you give that kind of esprit de corps and importance to your projects that you would give to a client project. And that's neither here nor there. If it's talking to you today, great. And if you didn't need it, put it in your pocket for later. But it's good advice.
It is good advice, and I love your statement about treat yourself as a client. You should treat yourself as your number one client, right? You because if you don't, the old theory, if you don't take care of yourself first, it's the old. Or I bring it back to we've talked about this before, and not that this is new or unique, but what do they tell you on an airplane? First thing they tell you is if the mask drops, you put your own on first, right? Because you can't help the kid, your kid, or an old lady beside you, or the guy behind you. You can't help anybody else if you're unconscious, right? And I think that theory plays into what we're talking about today. Is you can't be your best, in my case, rep. You can't be your best podcast guru and social media guru if you aren't doing your own thing at the top of game as well, right? And the interesting thing with that is, in today's world, there's part of that's consistency and just your mindset. And there's so many things in today's world, technology-wise, that are there to assist. And I think assist is a key word, right? Not do for you. It'll do some things for you, but there's a lot of opportunities. And I think that's one of the things we was going to talk about today. But that's a good segue, right? I can't ride one, but I can talk them.
Yeah, don't mess around with segues.
Yeah, well, not unless I got time for the hospital, because that's where I'll be.
Too many people eat it. Yeah,
yeah, I would be.
That's not my bag.
I would be one of them. I have enough time driving a car. Just ask the Dixie chick. But anyway, or at least in her mind. That is one of those. I'll get in trouble for this, but I don't know where this even came from. But I do live that life of stop. What? Didn't you see that car? You mean the one in Des Moines, Iowa? Yeah, I'm in Kansas City. I'll see it in a while. But I'll pay for that one. But that's okay.
That's okay. I stopped for a squirrel the other day, and Julianne acted like I was, stopping on the Indy 500. Throwing a stock car in front of everybody. I mean, I said I'm not going to run over a squirrel when I'm going 25 mile an hour.
Exactly. Poor little squirrel's got family too. Come on.
That's right. And I think he gave me a little tip of his.
I'm sure he did. Hey, he's just living his best squirrel life, and I have a tendency to see silver objects in squirrels a lot. So
that's good stuff. And Randy, we had a mutual friend, new for you, old for me. No pun intended, Ed. But Ed Drost was on last week, and he has really been jumping into AI really, really deep. And one of the things that we had talked about for a topic today, you just touched on. And I want to give kind of a very, very fast timeline on it and then explain the thought behind it. And that is, in the back, if you were to move just a little bit to the side, people would see a Megamind sign, just over your shoulder. Randy and I met.
There it is.
There it is, the Megamind sign. That Megamind is, and even though it's not necessarily Megamind anymore, it's still very much intact. A group of friends that still talk and still go through, and even though it may not be in its original incarnation, the idea is still there of friends getting together and kind of having that mastermind thought process and getting together and just kind of combining ideas. And one of the things that had happened in your life was you were the guy that went out and it's all in asphalt and algorithms, guys, but if you think about someone like Randy or someone like myself, Randy was out there, basically going from Michigan to Florida, on a regular basis and everywhere in between, and dealing with customers, shaking hands, kissing babies, dealing with everybody from the plain folk, which in this particular case we'll call the Amish, and every sort of incarnation of that, different kinds of plain folk, that are out there, to the boardroom, and everything in between. Again, not just space, but different audiences. And when COVID hit, it threw a monkey wrench in meeting face to face for everybody. What we thought was going to be a couple weeks ended up being a lot longer.
Right.
And, so something had to be done. And when Randy and I got together, not that you guys don't already know this, but if you're new, we started this podcast. And, when Randy said, I want to do it, it was something that we could have put off, and we did have a couple hiccups where Randy said, well, I don't know if I'm quite ready. And I said, we're going to do this, and not because of being a taskmaster, but because I knew that the worst was going to be the first, and it was going to get better from there, and it did. We have got this process down to the point that if Randy is not available, I could step in. If I'm not available, Randy can step in. If we're not available, we have friends that can do something similar. I mean, so we've never had to have that scenario yet, but we have contingencies in place that we've gotten to the point where I think we have it down pretty good. There's some technology in there, and many times a lot of technology, but we've been able to do those, over 200, nearing probably 300, if not more, podcasts because of it, putting us in very rare air there. You got Randy with his book, which is extreme rare air. I think the Wolves that did the marketing for Randy's book said that it puts you in, I think, the upper 5%. Is that right? Or is it 1%?
1%. 1% of the world ever does a book, which is
that's
kind of amazing.
So when you start talking about the transformation from the going out on the road to becoming hybrid, which was working with people online and getting relationships done in the form of media as opposed to being in person. So what we're doing right now, Randy is in Traverse City, Michigan. I'm in Ohio, but we're right here together. And many times we do meet up actually live, but the technology was there that we could take that asphalt and turn it into the algorithms, if you will. That'd
be a good name for a book.
If it's not, it should be.
It should be. I think I'm going to write one. But
the thing that we need to realize, guys, is that this technology is incredible. But I want to talk to you about the going back to the basics and the reason why. And I'll let Randy pop in here as well and give his 2 cents. It is his show. But yesterday when I was preparing, the reason that this all come up, Randy will tell you, it just happens to be the truth, is I couldn't respond back to him with a question that he had because my internet was down. Now, when your internet's down, if you're like me, I feel like I'm literally Charles Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. Randy's laughing. Some of you may not get that reference. And
that's because I'm old.
Let's just say that I feel like I'm back where none of this stuff existed. I'm like, what do I do? I can't work on a podcast. I can't do this. I can't do that. And so you got to realize that you need to prepare for the times that you don't have that stuff, because you're going to have to actually sit down and write a story. You're going to have to write a blog post, soup to nuts, without any Grammarly help, without any, AI chiming in and saying it would look better this way or whatever the case may be. Because even though that hybrid world exists and I love it, I use it every single day, probably in ways that would blow your minds. But you still have to realize that as awesome as AI is, it doesn't do all the work. Okay. Right. There still has to be a lot of blocking and tackling that goes on. If I were to show you the things that we do just on the podcast alone, both of them, whether it's, the one that I do for warehouse safety tips, doing it for building wins, anything, it doesn't matter what it is. There is just a lot of moving parts that you would never see, but they have to be done in order to get the stuff up, because without one, you can't do the other. They fall in like dominoes. So, Randy, what is your take on people that have kind of got to the point where they depend on AI being not a muse, but I guess they've went from using it as a crutch to a wheelchair. Yeah. So what's your take on that?
Well, and that's a great point, because I think it happens a lot in all aspects of life. Is you go from nothing to overkill, and then you can never come back again. And I think you have to, and that's my whole theory of hybrid, is you have to be able to still remember where you came from, remember the roots, remember the things that really work, which is still person to person, that still works always, all the time, always better. But you can augment, you can streamline, you can expedite, and you can do a lot of things better with the use of AI, as long as you don't make it, like you said, your crutch, to where I can't sit down now and write a blog on my own because I just do them with AI. I don't do blogs with AI. I use AI to help me, but I still feed in and I still write what I want. I just use it to grammar, fix a little something that doesn't sound great. Can you give me another? And again, the more you use it, the more it understands. In my case, the voice of Randy, right? It understands how I talk, think, and say. So it's easy to use that to fix. But I think a mistake that a lot of people make, and true diehard AI people might semi disagree with us, but we're still dealing with people every day. And I think you have to keep that personal aspect in there. And even if you're doing anything with AI, anything with virtual like we're doing right now, we still have to be in touch with people and remember we're face to face, even if it's on a screen, right? And so with the AI has been incredible. People will ask me sometimes, man, you're all in on AI, aren't you? I am, but I still probably use it more than a lot of people. And I'm still a 1%er at the low end, not the high end of using it, right? I don't even begin to touch what it probably can do. But I've found, and I was talking to, I'll give him a shout out to Phil, one of the owners of MWI Components, one of the manufacturers I'm blessed to be with. I was talking with him last night on a different issue, and he had caught the show with Ed Drost and found it very good. And we was chatting about AI, and I was telling him about how I've got a 2-day trip this week planned, and I'm jamming a lot in because I used AI. In 10 minutes, I told it who I wanted to see. You have to leave 12 to 1 out because all my plane people are at lunch at 12 to 1, so that's a no-go time. This is an anchor visit. This is an anchor visit. Outside of that, so give me the best route that uses my time the most efficiently without backtracking. Instantly gave that to me. Couple of adjustments. Then I said I like to stay at Hilton Properties because I like the points, and I also like the little diamond sign that you get to pull up by because it makes me feel important, even though I paid for that a million times over. But still, it's fun. And it gave me, the Hilton Properties nearest my location, except for one didn't have a Hilton. I said, well, give me an IHG. Yes, I've got one. And my point of all that, Wes, is all of that was done in 4 minutes. The old school way of doing that, I'd have sat and brought up MapQuest and go, okay, well, I think if I go here first, how many miles is that? That's going to take so long. Then I think I want to go here. And then I go, well, that doesn't seem right. I would have spent an hour and a half to 2 hours planning that trip. That literally took 4 minutes. And that was me giving it instructions and then me giving it a little feedback because I disagreed with something or I forgot to tell it one thing. Like, for example, I forgot to tell it that I can't be seeing anybody from 12 to 1 because there's nobody to see. They all take lunch, period. Okay. So I forgot to tell it that, right? So I had to go back and say, oops, I forgot. And Chester, which is my AI guy, my chat GTP, he laughed at me, which he does often, and said, not a problem, hybrid Randy, we'll fix that. Boom, just like that. And so my point of all that is it did stuff that I normally would have done or still could do. So if I didn't have chat GTP went down, I still have the capabilities to do it the old school way. And I think that's what you're getting to. I'm getting a long roundabout way of getting there, but I still haven't missed the ability or lost the ability to go back and do it the old school way. But I have the ability and the desire and the understanding to use the technology that's available to Well, what could there's a lot of things I did with that extra hour and a half of time. Literature requests and sample requests and follow up with customers and doing a lot of those things that I would have spent trying to plan a trip. So that's, I think, a key to that is don't let it be your tool. Don't let it take over just everything you do and automatically. I'll just have ChatGPT do it. Use it where it makes sense, and don't lose sight of some of the old school part of that. I guess that's my take.
Well, and there's two things that I can tell you right off the jump, Randy, that kind of really stuck out with me during the whole process of stepping back and being able to watch us in kind of a rear view mirror. One of the things was when you went from going and doing the kissing babies and shaking hands to doing Zooms and doing StreamYards and doing just all the different things that you do to become visible in your clients and customers' minds when you couldn't do it in person.
Right.
It was very disheartening to see people go, man, I love what you do. I just think it's the best. But then when you and I go to a show, and I promise you, I've been to a show, less than a month ago with Carson. And when you walk around, you do not see a great deal of people doing video or podcasting. There's always, it seems like the person that does get it, or the company that does get it, will have a booth set up where they have, the podcasting equipment, and they seem to always be kind of cycling somebody always in, and almost like an ongoing kind of show. I don't even know how to explain it. Like an ongoing, like we're at the show and we're going to man on the street, just keep dragging people in, which you and I have done at shows with Gary. But the other part of it is that you didn't go back to, or you did not go. What's the way I'm trying to say this, Randy?
Easy for you to say, Wes.
Yeah, my mind, I know what I want to say. So I guess what I'm getting at is it would have been very easy for you to just keep doing what you were doing. But when we got back to business, you went back to business. Okay. You went back and were continuing to say, hey, it's been a long time, shake hands, kiss babies, all that kind of stuff. So I think what happens is that people get used to doing one thing and don't go back to what originally worked, but you did that. And so I see both sides of it, in the sense of the people that, saw that what was working before aren't doing it. And the people that saw what was working when you had to change also didn't do it. And it's like, I've stood out with people like, I'm in network marketing, as you know, as a side hustle. And I can remember talking to a gentleman who's, went over the rainbow since that day, is a gentleman by the name of Dave Savula that was in a company called Prepaid Legal back in the day. And I arrived late to an event, but he was outside smoking. And I got to meet him, and I walked up, and this is a guy who's made millions and millions of dollars, had just an insane couple properties. And I asked him, what's one of the most frustrating things about the business? And he said, Wes, he goes, I'll tell you, when you're standing in your house and everybody's telling you how amazing this is, and man, I just wish that, I could do something like this. You're so lucky. And I'll bring that to another place here in a second. But he said, I'll tell them, you can do this. I've told you about this 100 times. You come, you eat my food, you get on my boats and jet skis and all that stuff, and you don't think you can do it. I did it. What makes you think you can't do it? Kind of a thing. But Randy, you yourself have told me that you'll go back to high school reunion, or go back, to a place, and there's always that one guy or girl that's on the bar stool telling you, how lucky you are, and how lucky you are, luck come in the form of, callous and worn out work boots. that's your luck.
It does. And, that old saying that gets said is the harder I work, the luckier I get, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Harder and smarter. And in today's world, the smarter is a big part of it too, because we're given all these tools that we've just been talking about to work smarter and to be more places, to be more visible, as you talked about, with the same or less effort. But you're right. It's a mindset thing, right? There's no reason. You talked about earlier about, and I feel proud of the fact to have wrote a book, and we're working on more. And the fact that is mind-boggling to me, that only 1% of the world ever writes a book, because there's 8.5 billion people ish in the market or in the world, right? That's 8.5 billion stories, right? Everybody's got a story, and everybody's story is worth listening to by somebody, right? There's an audience for every single story that would help somebody, entertain somebody, whatever the case may be. So I think a key there is you get used to not getting out of your own way, and then it becomes habit. And the funny thing about habits is bad habits are hard to break, but good habits are hard to break as well. And I think you got to really work hard at developing or being habitual about doing the things that you want to do, doing the things that make sense, doing the things that will help you grow. Because the more you do them, the better you get at them. And then pretty soon you can't stop if you wanted to. We talked earlier, I think I probably am going to be in some sort of phase of writing a book the rest of my life now. I would have never said that a year or two ago. It was like, I'm going to write one, and then I'm not, and then I am, then I'm not. And I got pushed by people, editors and good people that kept me on task. My wife kept me on task. But all of a sudden I proved to myself I can. And so now it's become a habit that I don't want to break. And I'm not sure I could break it if I wanted to, because there's this almost this desire that I'd almost like to quit talking to you right now and go write a chapter of a book. Does that make sense? Hey, friends, it's Randy here, the owner of Source One Marketing, ibuyfromrandy.com. And I got to tell you, we are proud to sponsor the Building Wins Live podcast and vlogcast. We have 4+ decades in this beautiful industry of supplying materials, supplying services, supplying marketing assistance, and we just are proud to sponsor Building Wins Live and some great guests that we have every single week, many of them from our beloved industry and many of them from outside the industry that still bring some incredible content. So make sure to check us out at ibuyfromrandy.com and let us know what you think about this show. For now, thanks for checking this out. Let's get back to the show.
Well, it makes perfect sense. And, here's the thing, Randy, that you need to know. Another person that's kind of went over the rainbow and left us is Reverend Miles Monroe. If you guys ever want to, find just, absolute gems, Miles is MYLES, and Monroe is MUNROE. He was a pastor in the Bahamas. And, one of the things that he said was that the richest areas in the world are not the diamond mines and the oil fields, it's the graveyard. And the reason why is because that's the place where songs were never sung. Books were never written, podcasts were never put out, all the different things. He didn't say that because they probably weren't around when he was doing that, the podcast part. But yeah, the point is that if you have one person read your book and it takes them from whatever situation that they had at that moment to having a aha or a epiphany, in any way, shape, or form, or it's just something that causes them to get up and move for that next minute. It may not be the next hour, it may not be the next day, but just take a tiny bit of action, then every single bit of what you went through in Gale snapping a whip on your rear end, the wolves telling you to change the name of the title, have you written a chapter, where you at, all the different questions, every single thing that went into it that was on the frustration side was now made perfect and worth it because of that one thing. And when you were talking, I remembered a quote, and I'll tell you, it's exactly what I just said. It's from Karen Davidson. And she said, saving one dog will not change the world, but surely for that one dog, the world will change forever.
Mm.
And I know that it has nothing to do with pets, the book, but the saving that one person, that reads the book is well worth it. Putting that out and doing what Dr. Monroe said, which is his whole training on all that was to die empty. When you go home to the Lord, you should do so empty. Okay, you shouldn't have asphalt and algorithms in your mind. You shouldn't have building wins in your mind. You shouldn't have the Closers Volume 7 in your mind. Right now there's a gentleman, Jason, who's talking to our buddy Ben and squeezing all these stories out of him. And the reason why is because as much as we would like it to happen, Ben's not going to inhabit this earth forever. If there's anybody that's going to, it'd probably be Ben.
Probably be Ben.
But I have a feeling that the Lord's got different ideas for him. And so right now, what Ben's doing is what you'd see, someone doing, over a bucket, and that is they're wringing out as much as they can possibly extrapolate from Ben and the things that he's done, because we need Ben to die empty. And so by going through and doing these books and doing the things that you're talking about, it may not be for 99.999% of the country, that read it, but for that one person that reads it, or they might open up the book, which, by the way, you didn't even tell me about this. I open up the book and there is a absolutely kind, attaboy to me at the back of the book. I didn't know about it. I knew that I was going to have a blurb in the book, but I had no idea that you're going to write something so nice. And by the way, you're hearing about this first here. I think the world of you, my friend. And I think that this sort of situation that we're talking about is exactly why you do the stuff that you do. Because here's the thing, Randy, we both are busy. Doing this takes time, but I can't tell you how many people that I've heard just in the very few times I've actually got to attend a show with you, where they come up and talk about listening to your podcast, seeing an article that you put out, hearing a speech that you did at one of the other shows, stopping by and bringing pizza. I mean, you name it, whatever the situation is, you at that moment made their day. And so what I would tell anybody, and this, kind of goes way off message, but if you got something in you, let it out. Don't take it with you, because if it's a blog post, a podcast, a note you write down for someone to find later, or whatever it is, get it out of your head, because somebody needs it. It's just a fact.
Yeah, that's very well said, and thank you for the kind words. And I forgot that I wrote good stuff in my book about you. I got to go back and read that.
You're like, I'm gonna take that out, and then
who did that? We need a second edition. No, but no, all of it was heartfelt and well deserved, my brother. But you are right. And one of the things that I was thinking about, a statement that we make to each other a lot, we end almost every podcast with, and that's one of the things too. And you've talked about this in the Market You First that you do, is you say it in a different way, but it's the same thing as love what you do and do what you love, right? We talk about that often, and that's important too, right? And let's talk about that from your aspect of Market You First, because I love that. I wish I had that name, but I'm not buying it from you now because it's worth like probably $13-14. But
at least,
but you do have to find a way. Easier said than done. And there's probably, I'm going to dangerous ground here, because somebody might listen and go, yeah, that's easier for you to say, Randy, but things are not always easy. Things are not always the way you want them to be. Things can be downright tough and disastrous at times, but it's important. Life is long and life is short at the same time, right? And I think it's important that you make sure that you love what you do and do what you love. And if you're not, figure out, can I make it better? Is it fixable? If it's not fixable, then this is a segue into Market You First, but then what do you do about that? Do you stay miserable for the next 10, 20, 30 years or whatever you got? or do you find a way to get up? Because as do you, if you want to call it work with air quotes, I work a lot. I spend a lot of hours, and it's not just 8 to 5. It's 9:30 at night. It's 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's Sunday afternoon, but it's not work at all because 90% of it, I'm loving what I do and doing what I love. There's always going to be that little percentage of stuff that's that grind stuff you just got to grind through because I just don't like this particular part. I don't want to do it. And I ran into that again, back to segueing backwards to Gail. I had many a time writing this book that I just wanted to, that's good enough. I'm tired of it. I just want to move on. But luckily I had somebody there going, no, it's not good enough. The first 7 chapters are brilliantly beautiful. This sucks. So fix it. Right. But you need that. And so, but my point is, so that was the grind part, but now you get to go do the fun part. Right. And and so talk about marketing you first, and what does that crazy thing mean? And what's that mean to you?
Well, the market you first concept come from a 10-word elevator speech. So you have to go through and figure out what you do in 10 words or less. And so it's not easy to do, guys.
Yeah.
When you put together what you do, it's very difficult to do in 10 words, albeit 10 on the dot. I coach people to sell themselves, not what they sell. And
you sure that's 10 words? Do we need to count that? Are you sure?
It's 10. It's
okay.
10.
I'll take your word for it.
And it come from the idea of exactly what we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, which is being kind of a shoeless cobbler. Where you're doing everything for someone else, but yet you're walking around with tattered shoes or no shoes. But yet all your clients, are perfectly sold. Okay. And so what you have to do with the market you first concept is you got to figure out that, as an example, I would say that there's very, very likely tens of thousands of people that sell fasteners. Is that fair? I mean, so far as a sales standpoint?
Yeah, there's a lot. That might be a bit high, but that's a lot. Yes. There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people out there selling them. So,
yes.
Okay, maybe not tens of thousands, but there's probably for sure hundreds.
Yes.
I think that's very fair.
Yes.
And so, and when I say fasteners, that may not be someone that sells just fasteners. That could be somebody from a Fastenal or a Granger who sells everything from caskets to fasteners, but they still sell fasteners. So with Market You First, what it does is it says, okay, great, you sell fasteners, but what do you do to differentiate yourself above everyone else that sells fasteners? Well, Randy, I'm going to use you as an example. I buy from Randy.com. You don't say fasteners.com. You don't say, barndominiumsupplies.com. You don't, say any of that stuff. You say, I buy from Randy, and you tell the people you're going to be able to get me on the phone. You're going to be able to get me on email. You're going to be able to have me come and bring pizza to your, people. You're going to get a bro hug from me at a convention. You're going to get the best price that I can possibly give you. You don't have to ask for it. I'm going to give it to you. Kind of a thing. You don't have to come and, kind of chew me down to a different price. It's not going to be something that you have to do that. Chomping on me is not going to be something that has to happen. I'm going to chew down that price for you before I even tell you. And you're going to know that the thing that I'm giving you is the best, because I don't have time or patience to deal with the other nonsense. I'm going to tell you the best thing, and the people know that, and that's why they buy from Randy. They're not buying a fastener. They can get a fastener from anybody. They're buying the stuff that goes with the fastener, and that is, guys. When I say that, I of course mean the collective everybody. Know this: if you are doing something in this world, I used it as an example one time, and it blew my mind that it was real. I said something about you could fold, make a group out of people that fold World War II paper airplanes. I said it thinking of something that would be a joke. There was a group of people that did it. I said it as a joke. So the thing that you need to know is that regardless of what it is that you do, there is somebody that is wanting to do it as well, and they want your business.
Right.
They want to take those people that you're servicing away. They don't care about giving them the best deal. They don't care about being available to them on the phone. They don't care about seeing their kids, knowing where they go to school, ask them how new marriages, all the stuff that Randy would remember. And by the way, not because of a Rolodex, because he puts it up here and actually cares about it. Those people are going to possibly win in a instant, but they aren't going to win the race.
Right.
They're going to win a heat possibly, but the person's going to go, man, Randy, I bought from your competitor, and it did not go well. And Randy's not going to go, you know what? You can go, kick, sand. I'm not dealing with it again. It's going to be like, hey, welcome back. I can help you. And the reason why is because that's what Randy does. And so when you're figuring out the stuff that you market, you need to find the differentiator of what nobody else can provide. I can't do ibuyfromwes.com and sell the same fasteners and the same barndominium and roofing and windows and anything else that Randy does. I can never do what he does because I'm not Randy. And by the way, Randy can't do what I do because he's not Wes.
Right.
So when you find the stuff that is the glue that only you can provide, then you sell that. And oh, by the way, I just so happen to sell fasteners and all that other stuff, and I can help you. And that's the secret sauce.
It is, and so well said, and again, kind words, but out of 8.5 billion people on the planet, we'll go back to that. You just hit on it. Nobody does Wes as good as Wes. Nobody. You are number one in the world. It was because I do some stuff just for fun on social media, usually more on TikTok or Reels, but I did a thing. I said, you know what? I'm number one in the world. I am the best. And I just looked at the camera and says, at being me, right?
Yeah.
And that's a fact, because there's nobody that can do you or me as good as we do ourselves. And so I think that as our mutual friend that we've gave lots of kudos, I think he owes us a Dr. Pepper or something for this, but he'll be on again soon with us, talking with Jason about his biography that's being written. But Ben Gay always said he took the people buy from, all things being equal, people buy from they know, like, and trust, right? But he adds a fourth that I just love, which is feel safe with. The only way you do that, let me back up. You hit on it, and I just wanted to extrapolate a little bit more, is people at the end of the day, they think they're buying things, but they're not buying things at all, really. They're buying the solution or the way that thing helps them or makes them feel or takes care of a need or a want. Is what they're buying. They're not buying a thing. They're not buying you hit on fasteners. They're not buying a screw from me. They're buying, what will this screw do for my project? Will it last? Will you take care of me? Will your company take care of me? Will you give me the service I need? Will you take the phone call Saturday afternoon at 4:00 because I'm in trouble? Those are the things they're buying, right? Because I think if you can differentiate yourself to, that's what I'm selling you. I use this term selling lightly, but what I'm presenting to you, what Wes is presenting, what everybody listening to this ever should present is myself and my ability to care about you, to take care of you. And I also have a pretty doggone good product and a pretty fair price with some really good service to go along with it, right? That's the key, because there's, like you said, there's a million people that could figure out how to help somebody do social media like you do, but they don't get Wes to do it, right? They don't get your take. Like with me, like you said, every product I have, there's no monopoly on any of them. There's a bunch of other places to get it, and a lot of them do a fine job. It's not like I'm the only one that works either, right? It all comes back to all those differentiators, which Geez, there's a little shout out for our mutual friend Lee Sauls, right? The Differentiator series. Look at us go. I mean, we're gonna have everybody's gonna love Dr. Peppers. But he does talk a lot about that, about differentiating yourself. Don't be just I'm Wes, the social media guy. I'm just Randy, the screw guy. Yeah, okay. Well, I've got a lot of screw guys. There's a lot of social media guys. Big deal, right? It is, and it is. It's who cares. It's the personal part of it, and that's where we're going really back to where we started. Is using all the technology, all the AI, all the stuff is all great, and if we don't use it, I'm just throwing that out there now. You're going to get left behind. Sorry if you don't like to hear that, but that's my take. You got it. Not because it's going to take your job, but people that use it are just going to be quicker, faster, better at a lot of the things they need to do. But you can't ever take the Wes out of the equation, and don't let any of the technology take Wes out of the equation, right? Because again, that's all there is Wes at the end of the day. That's the only reason to deal with you for what you do is because of Wes, not because you can push a bunch of buttons, because other people can push buttons, right? It's not because, like I said, I've got all these products which I think are the best in the industry. I can give you all that dog and pony about why I think they are, but I'm not the only guy that has them. That has stuff that'll do what you need to do. So I think it's really important to get back to what is the one thing that I can do better than anybody is be Randy. What can Wes do? He can be Wes, right? And I think if we do that, we have a much better chance of winning the game on a steady basis. Because back to you talking about speed and all that, it's a marathon. Life's a marathon with sprints in between sometimes, right? But there's sometimes you got to sprint. But generally speaking, most things happen incrementally. And I think if we focus on being incremental, taking those incremental steps, because most big deals don't get won just instantly. It's time after time being there, doing the things you need to do. And they also don't get lost typically on one deal. If you've built relationships, it's something messing up time after time after time after time and not being addressed, not being taken care of before it finally is the straw that broke the camel's back type of scenario, right? So I think it's incremental. And I think if we incrementally market you first, as you so well say, another one that we talk about a lot, which falls in that, is visibility equals opportunity, right? I think if we work on those issues and always come from the right place, you're just going to win way more than you lose. And that's my final take on that.
Well, and you know, to loop back to the name of this podcast, Randy, it's about building wins, and it's about, you know, wins don't necessarily have to be gigantic. I mean, they can be the tiniest of stones, but I mean, if you keep throwing a stone into the water and over again, you're going to end up with a dam at some point. I mean, you know, it's going to stop, you know, and affect the flow of that water. You know, so but it doesn't happen with that you know, one little stone or that one log or whatever the case may be that dams up that or not dams it, but you know, redirects the water or dams it. But you know, I think the thing is that everybody needs to realize that it's the little wins that add up to just, you know, gigantic you know, changes. And so you know, if you start doing push-ups today and expect to have abs and you know, big biceps, it's not gonna happen. Yeah, but if you do it for, you know, a week and a month and a, you know, year and you know, keep doing a lifestyle of it, it's like you know, you've probably walked from, you know, here to Nova Scotia, you know, 25 times, but you didn't start off that way. You know, you start off with one step. You know,
Exactly.
so I think that if people would just realize the fact that, number one, you know, they are the only person that matters in the world of what they can provide, because you have control over you. You might have somebody that looks, you know, similar. You might have somebody that does something similar, but they can't do exactly what you do. And the other thing is that if you just you know, go through and say, you know what, if I have more wins than I had slight errors in judgment, that's all I need. And if you've ever read the book The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, yeah, that's really the whole, you know, crux of the book is it doesn't seem to make a difference in the act of doing it, whatever it is, but compounded by time makes all the difference in the world. And so that it is either slight disciplines or slight errors in judgment. That's it. I mean, it's either moving the needle forward or staying the same or going backwards. And if you stay the same or go backwards, they're basically the same. You constantly got to be doing something to just a little bit. It might be the smallest little inroad, but that little win is what's going to change your world. So, but
Absolutely.
Anyway, guys, we went on about 5 different tangents there. Hopefully, you can spit out the bones and find the meat in it. But I think it's all good information somewhere in there.
I think it is. And, as you brought up, and maybe a good, as we kind of wind down here, you talked about the building wins, and I loved what you brought up because that's so true. It's all types of wins, small wins, big wins, medium-sized wins, and it's also all types. It's not just business wins and sales wins. It's health and fitness wins. It's personal wins. It's spiritual wins. I happen to believe you talk about stacking stones and that, right? It's every little win when you throw it on that virtual win pile, which I keep in my head. It's on a little coffee table. It's my head. You throw a win on that pile, and I figure my head, all wins is they welcome each other, and they compound with each other, and they don't care if it's a spiritual win followed by a business win followed by a personal win. It's a win, and they don't care if it's a big or small or not. And my final example of that would be, let's just say you're working from home office, right? You get up in the morning, got a bunch of calls to make, a bunch of stuff, whatever that stuff is, and maybe like you say, your wife's already up, and you say, hey baby, let me get you a cup of coffee. You look great today. You get her the cup, and she's happy that you just did that small thing, made her have a win. But I can guarantee you, if you go grab that phone call from a customer right now, you're going to be better equipped to be the personality that they want to see, somebody that cares and loves them and wants to help them, because you just celebrated a win, right? You're in a winning mindset. And I think that's the key, is to constantly keep ourselves in winning mindsets. And that doesn't come back to the incremental. And back to your dam building idea. I love that, because no dam was just built by, think about the Hoover Dam. That just didn't appear one day. That was years of planning and effort and all kinds of stuff to get that there. So I think in our life, it's the same thing, right? It's incremental. Just do one step at a time. You get kicked in the shin once in a while. You shake it off, and you understand and not lose sight of the fact that, hey, I'm still trying to build a life of wins. And as long as you do that, you're still going to keep going in the right direction. Everything, it's a roadblock. It's a slight oops. We all have them, but you just shake it off, learn from it, right, and move on. So, very well said, my brother. I mean, it's good stuff. I'm going to go read my book though and see what I wrote about you. I know that.
All I heard was that I just had the best damn idea you've ever heard.
I did say that. And you know what I like about that? That's one of those words that I really love, because it's not. I don't think "damn's" a particularly naughty word, but some people would look at it as a swear word. But there's a little shop in Michigan here, 4 miles from me, where you can take your boat and get gas and go and get stuff. And they also have a little bar and some food trucks and all that. And it's right by a dam. And so it's called the Dam Shop. And so I love it but DAM, right? I love it when I say, yeah, what do you want to do? I say, let's just go to the Dam Shop. And I don't know. I find weird things to be humorous to me, but it's
best damn place in the world.
I know it's fun when you got guests up that don't know what you mean. Where do you want to get something to eat? I don't know. Let's just go to the Dam Shop.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, you'll love it. It's great. They got music and drinks and food, and but anyways, it's good stuff, brother, as always. Yeah. When we said we were going to do this together, I think we originally thought we'd do 20 minutes, but we knew better.
Well, we just did 58. So yes. that just goes to show you that we love to hear each other speak, or that, every now and again we might have an idea or two to share.
Oh, yeah, definitely like to hear each other speak, but
Well, I'm just trying to do what Dr. Monroe said and die empty. Yeah.
There you go. Let it all out, man. Parting words, my brother?
You know what? My parting words are this. The sign that is in the background that I told you about before, the mega mine that Randy's got back there. If you guys want to really, really enrich yourselves, start a mastermind. And the reason why is because whether it's Ben Gay that we mentioned, Lee that we just mentioned, Gary that we mentioned, all these people, whether it's Ian or Marvin Montgomery or I could name
Denise Griffiths, yeah,
all these people,
Yep.
all of them. We got to know them because we reached out and talked to one person who knew two people. Those two people might not have known anybody. Another person knew three. And next thing you know, our podcast is, like I said, well over 200 episodes and only getting better. We've brought back a couple people. We've had a couple people that we probably will never have back. but and don't read into that. It's very very few and far apart that happens. But the thing that you need to know is that by sharing audiences and dipping in and having the vulnerability to ask people, how are we doing, and getting their honest opinion and changing things and not doing what Randy and I say is the most dangerous term in the world, and that is that's the way we've always done it. If you hear that, run. But the people that we deal with don't even have that in their vocabulary. So go out there and do what Randy and I did. It's the way we met. It's the way that we've met all these great people that we just mentioned. Get out and get away from technology. And actually go back to the basics and talk to people and shake some hands and send some messages and, ask, hey, how would you like to get together and talk about something once a month, or once a week or once a day, whatever it is. And the worst thing that they can tell you is no. But it's that every shot not taken is a guaranteed miss. Exactly. I think maybe Wayne Gretzky, possibly, but just get out there and get away from the technology every now and again, and go back to what Randy started off with was shaking hands and kissing babies. Don't reverse those; you'll get in big trouble. But,
and also, you should always ask the mother if it's okay before you kiss the baby.
Yeah, that's right. But
just saying, who is this goofy old man? Get away from me.
Yeah, but that's my parting words. Is just we love doing what we do, and we're going to continue to grow this and have great stuff for you guys.
Yes, awesome, my friend. As always, brilliant work, and thank you for the keeping the book cover up there. Buy the book; it's available everywhere. Wait for Wes's; it's coming out as soon as possible. Okay, I'll get mine up too. I got the shiny copy one, so it shines a little bit.
Right.
But I can't wait till your book comes out. I can't wait to continue working on the one on the closures, whatever that we're working on, and just more stuff to come, man. So, you already said love it, do what you love, and hey, live it, love it, own it, and I don't know, if you got nothing else to do today, go make today your best day ever. Till tomorrow. Wes, see you, brother.
See you later, brother.
All right.